Luke tightens the wires with the drill so that the iron rod presses the straw tightly against the wooden structure. In spite of his youth, Luc Verdoux is one of the few artisans of the Pyrenees who knows in depth the secrets of the laying of the rye straw on the roofs so that it fulfills this insulating function. Luc begins the preparation of the straw by beating the head of the rye to remove the grains that are left. He knows very well that the birds spoil the thatch of the roofs when they peck in search of the grain, and also that the seed can produce damages when germinating on the roof. In the rake, these craftsmen remove the short and bad straws, leaving only the long and well-formed ones. And it is that the good rye straw, before being used, can be conserved more than 30 years under cover. The rye straw that this artisan roofer uses for the roof is whole, cut by hand or with a manual mower. With several bunches of straw, Luc prepares each of the sheaves, which are the units necessary for the roof assembly. To start repairing the roof, Luc waited for the summer days, which are less rainy and less risky. With his friends Alan and Thierry, he went to the valley of Comillac in Saint-Giron to restore the roof of a farmhouse with thatch. The roofers begin by preparing the whole framework of battens, where they will have to fasten the sheaves. The entire wooden structure of the roof rests on large main beams, joined by a secure system of saw-shaped crimps called Jupiter's knot. Inside the farmhouse, the sheaves are already prepared to begin covering the roof. For convenience in his work, Luc starts laying the sheaves from right to left in the direction of the hand. It is in these first courses that the longest sheaves are used in order to leave the overhang of the eaves. Luc places the sheaves one by one under a long iron rod. After cutting off the ring that holds the thatch, he ties with wire the iron rod to the roof battens, pressing that way the thatch against the wooden structure. At the beginning of the construction of the roof, Luc pays a lot of attention to keep the same size all along the eaves. To shelter the wall and protect it from the water on rainy days, Thierry gives the thatch at the bottom of the eaves a slope towards the wall. To level it in this direction, he taps it with a special shovel with holes in it to prevent the straw tips from slipping. Before placing the next layer of sheaves, Luc changes the provisional wires that hold the rods in place for other definitive ones. The racks are toothed pieces that are used to press the iron rod against the sheaves until they are definitively fixed to the roof. While Thierry is preparing the sheaves of the second row with their corresponding racks, Luc finishes fastening the rod with the wire. On the second row of sheaves, the roofers have placed another iron rod. To fasten it, Luc patiently tries to get the teeth to grip the wood and then press the rod with the hook of the rack. From the second row on, the wooden battens are hidden by the thatch. To fix the next sheaves, the roofers use two special needles and a lot of patience. Stitch after stitch, the sheaves are fixed on top of the wooden structure, forming a layer with an average thickness of 35 to 40 centimeters, which makes the roof completely watertight. Luc tightens the wires with the drill so that the iron rod presses with force the straw against the wooden structure. This work is very slow because there are many layers of thatch to be laid on top of each other until the entire roof surface is 40 centimeters thick. The process is repeated continuously, row after row and stitch after stitch. Then the ends of the thatch should be evened out with a shovel until the surface of this thick protective layer is smooth and uniform. To build a thatched roof of 100 square meters, 3 to 4 weeks of work are necessary. A few days have already passed on this farm in Comiac, and our friends the roofers have finished one of the roof slopes. While Thierry and Alan are covering the southern slope, Luc is going to finish the last details of the farmhouse ridge. The small ladder, unique to this roofer's work, is used to move around the sloping surface and to assemble and disassemble the scaffolding. The ease is a hook-shaped rigging from which are hung the timbers that serve as scaffolding when the roof is advanced. At the corners of the roof, the thatch covers part of the wall slabs. In this way, the roofers make it easier for the water to drain outside and not enter through the joints. Luc patiently checks the level of the roof surface. Although the ridge is not finished, his work ends here, when the two slopes are covered. Luc, the roofer, lives in the Compound Valley. There, the neighbors who still have this type of roofing on their farms call him when they need to repair the damage that has occurred, especially on the ridge. If it is well laid and with quality material, a rye thatch roof can last 5 to 6 decades. However, the ridge should be repaired every few years, as it is the part of the roof that suffers the most from sudden temperature changes. This roofing craftsman is going to restore this closing part of a roof, and for this purpose he prepares special sheaves. On this occasion, he places the heads of the bunches of straw in both directions, since the sheaves have to have the same thickness along their entire length. When he has enough straw, and when the thickness is right, he ties the sheaf with 3 points of wire. With patience, Luc prepares one by one all the sheaves that he will need to close the ridge. Once the sheaves are ready, he presses them down to give them a flatter volume and to be able to adjust them better. The day before, this artisan roofer removed the thatch from the ridge that was in poor condition. Luc reinforced the attachment of the original thatch with an iron rod tied with wires. With this iron rod, Luc intends to reinforce the hazel rod that the roof had from the previous restoration. On this occasion, Luc has not brought an assistant, and all the work has to be done alone. He doesn't mind because the enthusiasm he puts into his work is worth any extraordinary effort he has to make. This farmhouse which Luc is restoring is used as a summer house, and the owner has decided to put up a tarpaulin to prevent water from entering when the thatch starts to spoil. The roofer places the bundles under the iron rods and, as usual, fastens them with wire. Once the rods are fixed, Luc tightens the wires with the drill to secure the roof against the strong winds that are common in these mountain areas. Our friend the roofer smooths the junction of the new ridge with the original roof. With the scissors, he evens out the points of the thatch until it is even with the rest of the roof. Luc has finished his work and can now dismantle the scaffolding that has been used to move around the roof. The small ladder with a hook will be very useful for him to be able to move in this last phase, in which, while descending, he is cleaning the entire surface of the roof. The disappearance of the traditional cultivation of rye, the lack of specialists, and the dissuasive premiums applied by the insurance companies to penalize their clients because of the fire risks have been some of the causes of the disappearance of this method of coverage of the Pyrenean roofs.